Hello everybody, this is AK. I am back. So recently I've received many comments and questions from both readers of my blog and viewers of my YouTube videos about Lendlease Global Commercial REIT. Right, I think it's because the share price has come down a lot and the distribution yield went up to about 8% or in excess of 8%, and that got many people's attention. Right, an example of a comment I received in my video, the YouTube channel, is this one said, "Enjoyed this video as always. Can AK talk to himself about Lendlease REIT given the recent price action? Share price dropped 17% since it went XD. Whether you would consider buying some Lendlease REIT at this price?" And to that I said, "Don't know why so many people like this REIT going by the number of comments I have gotten. I looked at it before and I didn't like it. I thought the balance sheet was weak and how it was expanding at any cost, like a snake swallowing an elephant. Anyway, AK talk nonsense sometimes. My plate is full, no interest." Right, so quite a typical reply from me. And then I also had many comments in my blog, and one of them went, "Wondering if you can talk to yourself about Lendlease REIT. Citibank and DBS are saying different things, so conflicting advice given there. Is the buy recommendation brushing aside the issue of high gearing and low interest current ratio? And is the sell comment too pessimistic?" Of course, there was also equity dilution because Lendlease REIT had to raise funds from shareholders for its acquisitions. I have been quite consistent in saying that when we invest for income, we want to invest in companies which have the ability and willingness to pay shareholders. But at the same time, I also said that the pandemic taught me that we should also invest in companies that have a strong balance sheet. So I have said to myself again and again that balance sheet strength is very important and it cannot be overstated how important it is, right? And I said that when we see titles like what you see now on screen, right, like buy Lendlease Global Commercial REIT for an 8% yield, we want to take this sort of titles with a pinch of salt, right, and not rush and buy simply because that 8% yield is shouting out for attention. And we have to dig in to the numbers and see why, right? Because if we just buy something based on the yield being very high, then we are treating that something like as if it's a fixed income instrument, and REITs are not fixed income instruments, right? They are not like T-bills or fixed deposits, right? Because those you only look at the yield and the interest rates, and that's all you look at, because it's risk-free, it's volatility-free. You don't have to care about any other details, right? So with REITs it's different, and Lendlease REIT has high gearing, right? It has high gearing. These other readers said that even though DBS recommended a buy and said that asset values are supported by improving cash flow, and the REIT has to see a 10% decline in asset value before its gearing hits 45%. But DBS also admitted that the overall gearing went up tremendously from 32% to 40.6% today, right? So the gearing level has gone up a lot, and of course the reader also rightfully pointed out that the interest cover ratio is pretty weak. And to all that, I have something else to add. The reason why I'm quite sanguine about iREIT Global is because their debt, right, is hedged, almost 100% hedged on fixed interest rate all the way to 2026, towards the end of 2026, before they have to refinance, right? So because of that, I don't have to worry about interest rates being very high and that they have to refinance and be hit by much higher interest rates, But that's not the case for Lendlease REIT. Only about 60+ % of their loans are hedged to fixed interest rates, whereas 30+, almost 40% are on floating rates. That's another reason why the DPU has come down. It's not just because the number of units in issue has gone up, because they had to do equity fundraising to help fund some of their purchases, big purchases in recent times. And of course, they also had to take out big loans in order to fund those purchases, which saw their gearing level went up. The number of units in issue has gone up. And of course, now that they have to refinance at higher interest rates, the distributable income has come down. So it's a trifecta of negative points. Right? Negative, negative, negative. And as long as interest rates stay higher for longer, they'll have to refinance at higher cost. They'll have to refinance at higher cost, which means the distributable income would shrink. I mean, that's natural. But and then if someone says, oh, but they all say, the experts say that interest rates will start coming down next year. But then, of course, in recent time, we have to take note of the narrative. A growing number of experts are changing and saying that, oh, no, we think that interest rates won't be cut next year. Interest rates will stay higher for longer. Maybe interest rates will be cut in 2025. You see how these experts are always changing their opinions, right? And we don't know. Nobody knows for sure when the interest rate is going to come down, by how much it's going to come down, right? But the longer we push it out, the chances become better. So chances are better for interest rates to come down in 2025 than in 2024, for example, because the longer you push it out, the better we have a grip on inflation. Hopefully, right? So if interest rates stay higher for longer, and it stays higher even in 2025, even REITs like AIMS APAC REIT would be hit, right? Which is why I keep saying, don't be overly optimistic about any investments which rely on borrowings to deliver results, right? And the balance sheet strength is very, very important. Okay, so that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts about Lendlease REIT. And I'm not investing in the REIT. My plate is full. Like I say, I'm serious when I say that. That's why I think you have to think for yourself whether it's a suitable investment for you. Okay, so if AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye-bye.